if it's possible, to close your eyes and come into the center, just allowing for the words to arise in the field and land however they do. Mind is time. And consciousness manifests as mind, appearing to play as experience, pure experience, time, space. There is no nature to that which we are as pure consciousness. Really cannot speak about that. That at whatever level, dimension, density, however you want to see it, anything that is expressed, experienced, is mind. And the way that the mind is vibrating, that which we are as consciousness is vibrating, that appears as existence. That allows consciousness to play. So linearly speaking, right, relevant to where we find ourselves at this time, so it's cycles within cycles, and the dimension, density, or whatever our experiences is the lens through which we are experiencing ourselves. There's nothing outside of consciousness. What determines experience is the identity. So all of this is a play of identity. That's all. Linearly speaking, I'm going to jump into how consciousness plays as the annual cycle that we are very familiar with. We play as the year. It's the time frame from the solstices. Okay, so from summer solstice till winter solstice, that is end of June till end of December, December 21st, when we are, going to experience the winter solstice, is the DAKSHINAYANA phase. That is, so mind is nature, So nature, of course, at this level, if we are still looking at it in the 3D and 4D framework, one may say, we tend to think that what is outside of us is nature, and then that becomes the guideline. That is because we as consciousness are identified primarily at the level of the body, our physical self. So when we are identified as the physical self, and that's the lens, right, through which we are looking, we seem to be standing apart from nature. But all of it is nature, consciousness experiencing itself. So that time, as we know, right, our holistic ways of coming back is to align with nature. Yeah. So Ayurveda, you look at Chinese practices, whatever, right? Any of the ancient practices that we look at, they'll all call you first and foremost that if you are experiencing unease, that means you are not aligned with that which you innately are in this moment experiencing yourself as. So when we separate from nature, the natural result of that is consciousness experiencing that which it is not, as dis-ease, as unease. So aligning with nature and nature's rhythms and cycles and seasons hold profound wisdom at that time for us. So at the level of the annual cycle, Dakshinayana began after end of June. So that's why this phase, which is called as Dakshinayana, that is the southward movement coming into the body. Right? So this allows consciousness to really deeply come into embodiment. Yeah, this allows for that this time. And how do we sense this when we look into nature? Right? And this is, we are currently, and that's the inspiration of this video, right now, standing at a very, very profound time, which is nothing but a state of mind, state of consciousness, where this is the root. This is the root. Every ancient, sentient, aware nature, mind, knows this. And that is why linearly speaking, because linear is basically stretching out of time as if there's a past and there's a future outside of that which I am, right? Then we speak about was and will be, all of that. Everything is appearing in the now. But ancient consciousness that we look at and we kind of share at the level of the way it is experienced by our 3D mind and the gross senses is that the ancient consciousness, ancient cultures, indigenous cultures, all of that knew this wisdom. And that's why no matter which one you look at, it's like we're deeply, deeply connected to nature. Because they were not apart from nature. The nature was their compass. Whether you speak about nature at the level of seasons that is experienced by Mother Earth, Gaia, Bhumi, that is nothing but ba. I won't go into that. The Sanskrit Varnamala where, all the sounds that are there are pretty much the sounds of our own experience. Ba. It's when the lips come together, heaven and earth coming together. I'll go ahead and put some links below this video because the way that it flows here is that it just dives into depths, and if you have no context, it can seem like it may confuse you. I do want to invite you here before I dive into even more, with two things, two important things. That is, this is a play of consciousness, that which we already are. No matter what you understand, or what you think you understand, right? And what you resonate with, you already are consciousness. Nothing can change that. Nothing at the level of mind, that is experience, determines that which you are. And this is really the foundational key, because once you know this, even if initially it's at the level of intellectual understanding, let it allow you to come into absolute ease. Only then this exploration, if you're seeking, will allow you to be available to seeing more. Because the more and more constricted energy is consciousnesses, the less and less awareness. The more and more loose it is and present it is, right? When we are not wanting anything, when we are not needing anything, we're not trying to get somewhere, is when everything appears to arise, because it is not outside of us. There's a deeper sensing. And for deeper sensing, ease is the way, presence is the way. So that's why words are pointers to this. Doesn't matter what you're going through, doesn't matter where you find yourself. Very key. What your experience or story of who you are may be, how big a struggle or not, whatever these ideas that you carry about yourself may be, does not determine that which you already are. You are that which cannot even be named, that appears as everything. There is not one thing in your senses right now that is not you. Stay with that. You are only seeing, perceiving, and meeting that which you are at the level at which you are vibrating. And this is the play of cycles within cycles. How you experience your world, yourself, your reality, time and space is all determined by the senses through which you're sensing it. And that allows for all the so-called meaning making. The me is the center of all the making, all of creation, that which you are. And this is the multifaceted dance, because when we look only through our five senses, or sense only through our five senses, right? The eyes that are looking, the way that we are feeling, touching everything, and we make meaning only through that. That's the world that we live in. It's the five sensory gross world, which we call as the masculine. The more and more we become present, right? Because the masculine five sensory world is connected to the thinking mind. What does our thinking mind know? That I, that we are moving as, is what we have received from our world, right? Our name, our role, what something means, all of that. So when we come into presence, and this is very key for this time, that's the sadhana itself of Dakshinayana. That's the living practice. Who are you when you don't pick that thought and identify yourself as that? Before you pick the thought, whether it's about yourself, about another, about what the world is or reality is. No wrong or right, just be with that. Stay with that then. That allows for deeper sensing. And that's ultimately the only practice if you really want to practice. Doesn't matter what you're called to do, move to that, of course. Okay, so first thing is this. So if you want this to be like a life mantra, then you can just, it can be so helpful in the beginning, right? To even carry this with you. I already am consciousness. Be available for it to be revealed to the you that you think that you are. Yeah? So that's first. Okay? And that's the core really. Actually, if you just do that, you can just even turn off this video. You don't need anything else. The rest of it is just words, right? You already are consciousness and you're playing. So deeper sensing, you'll move towards what needs to be moved towards and it will reveal itself to you. You'll reveal yourself to you, the depth, the beauty of that which you are. Okay? You just turn off this video. You don't need any more words, really. Okay, so going back to this thing, the second point that I really want to say, because this is coming from so many common questions, right? Especially when you hear so many ways, there are so many ways to explore this. And when we are in the 3D mind, that is split, it's always the question. The reason we ask the question is because it's like, what is the right way? We're looking outside, right? You are the living rightness. You are the living goodness. So trust yourself. This really is the path of knowing you are living trust. Yeah, everything appears so-called from within you for you to wake up to see that there is no within or without. It's all one phenomena. You're uniquely experiencing it. Your consciousness uniquely experiencing it as if through a focal point. So the second thing, that's why, that is foundational, is to trust your own resonance. This is the Ra. And Ra is our Manipura chakra, our solar plexus. It is through the Ra that we experience. Ra is the sound. I won't go too much into the depths of that, but it's the perpetuating quality of mind through which it experiences. It resonates. It's the root of the relative plane. Mind innately is a duality itself, because without two, there is no relatability, no relativity, no resonance, no response. Right? If there was only one in the sense that there is no other, there wouldn't be at any level, at any dimension, I'm not just speaking about 3D or 4D or 5D or 6D, or awareness and non-duality. That's why non-duality cannot be conceptualized. Words ultimately can really take you away from, right? Because that's the nature of thought and word. So at the level of mind, really, ultimately, there is no non-duality. Because even the I am that we speak about, oneness, is silent, cannot be spoken about. Because everything that can be spoken about is dual. So this Ra is how consciousness, that which is the unnameable non-dual, we say, experiences itself at different levels of duality. Yeah? So when this Ra, I want to really name that right now because I've been writing blogs about, we're moving through CHATURMASA. Right? I won't dive too much into that. That's going to confuse you. But you can read the blogs that I've been putting up. So, Hari. Ha is when consciousness exhales. One way to look at it. So when that exhale is happening, it's the constant reorientation of the Ra. And that is how consciousness experiences itself as unique expression. This is our individualization, individuation of consciousness, right? It's only via separating as an individual. Now, whatever that individual may be, if we are at the five senses, we might say the individual is this body-mind. If it is deeper sensing than that, then you know the individuation, the drop of the ocean, is the collective world. I am my living world. You don't stand as a separate self. You stand as the living world. That's when you sense the patterns, the seasons. You see that which I am is living. Right? And that's where you have this deep connection that you're not apart from anybody else. Even though we are uniquely feeling it, it's the bigger drop, right? And then where we are right now is even the bigger drop than that. We believe that this human body naturally belongs to this earth. We wake up as Gaia itself. We wake up as Bhudevi. And then beyond that, we really see we wake up as that which is seen as the celestial realm itself. That's why the ancient cultures looked up at the sky, right? At the stars, right? Because what is in our perception is not outside of that which we are, I am. So we wake up to our celestial ancestry. We wake up to our galactic ancestry. And as long as there is separation, there will be a story of separation, as if it's apart. Everything we meet, everything we see, the I is in the center. The emptier the I, the more available we are to seeing deeper truths. The minute we hold on to a story as an I, then we are still playing at the level of mind. That's the thing. So, we're talking about the resonance. So you allow the resonance to be the path. And that is the path of Hari. That is the path of, at the level of Kundalini, Ka, and creation. So these are different lenses. It's speaking all about the same thing. The nature of that which we are, appearing as mind, mana. So, to bring it back to simplicity, the second point. One, I already am consciousness. Okay? Whether you get what is being spoken here or not does not matter. Because you already know it. There's nothing here that's going to be said that you don't know already. Second, trust your resonance if you're looking outside. What do I mean by that? Is that of all the words that are coming up in the field, stay empty. Something will ring a bell. Ding, 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 ding. Something will be the kind of like an opening. Yeah? So, Allow that to lead you. I cannot name this enough. I really cannot. Because when we are seeking, there's so much of confusion because we're looking at so many different ways, so many different cultures speaking about it in so many different things. We're like, which is the right path? Which is the right way? Which is my way? Your way is your resonance. And your resonance, mind you, are at two places. One is that which you resonate with, which you are very familiar with. For example, if you're identified at the level of the body and your thinking mind, and somebody comes and speaks to you at the level of your name and speaks to you at the level of your body, that is very familiar resonance, right? That's our 3D world. Because the 3D world is the level of the five senses. Everybody's identity and the way that we relate is at the level of your name, is at the level of how you look, at the level of physicality, because everything is passed through the five senses. This is who you are, this is how I know you as, right? So that's one level of resonance, one level of relating. But as you deepen, there's a deeper resonance. The five sensory world appears. This is a tree, that is a rock, that is a leaf. Five senses is very familiar with that. It might even know the name of the tree. It knows the name of the leaves, the flowers, the birds. That's where it says, you name a bird and you don't see the bird anymore. Deeper resonance is that. You allow for all of that to be, right? Beautiful. That allows us to experience it at the level of five senses. So there's nothing really. Allow the thoughts to be. Allow the labels to be. Allow the definitions to be. Allow your beautiful body to be. The name to be. Deeper resonance, that's why it comes from silence. That's the practice of Dakshinayana, this space. So when you're in silence, that's the ultimate practice, non-practice of Chaturmasa. From summer solstice till winter solstice. You go inwards. That is why you see nature, longer nights, rest more. Come into that so-called your unknowing. Wherever you find yourself, whatever seems familiar. Because at the level of mind, it's constantly shifting. So if you're in your five sensory world, then you come in to presence, to know your six senses, seven senses, like this deeper sensing is unending. More and more presence, more and more inwards. So the longer nights, and now this is a very, very key phase we are in right now. And that's the inspiration of this video, because August is the new winds. Put a blog up on that. It's the new gust of wind. And after August, at this point, end of August, in September, we have reached the midpoint of Chaturmasa. Okay, September 3rd is the midpoint, where we say it's the Parivartana, where Hari now deepens. And we see that outside in nature, right? You'll start seeing the trees letting go of their leaves. And that is allowing of all the thoughts, all the beliefs that you believe you are. This allows for deeper resonance. More and more you are in this, you are familiarizing and concretizing your vibration that determines your perception, your experience of yourself, your world, your story, is all you. Playing as a you, right? So you will only sense at that level. And that's fine. But that's why this is the time of practice. This is the time. Chaturmasa is all about two things. That's why we say fasting. One, of course, because all that we believe, this body and this mind, are one thing. So when you fast, You're basically lightening up yourself. But the biggest fast is not just the fast of the food at the level of the body, because of course that helps. But that's still secondary, because that's given to us when we are so identified at the level of the body, we don't even understand what mind is. Do you see your thinking? What thought? Like we don't even realize we're so identified with our idea of thought. That is where fast. Because when your body fasts a little bit, you're lighter, then there's more awareness. Okay? But biggest fasting, the direct path of the fast, because Chaturmasa, we're also going through Mikael Lent right now. You want to call it as Michael Lent. This is the Western way of looking at it, at the same thing. We are ascended masters. We are archangels. That is your Ra. It's your engine. This is your engine through which you experience. Of course, it's all connected to the other chakras in this context. When you relax, Ra, relax. When you rest, Ra, you allow for you to sense deeper. 5 senses are like this rippling water. When you look through rippling waters, there's more distortion. That allows you to experience a different world, a different self. Self is reality, and all there is to that is experience. Consciousness as mind can be looked at as waters. As you relax, the waters relax. There's more clarity. Yeah? So that is your deepest resonance. So when you are resonating with something that is very familiar for you, your story, know that that's your old story. You know already that. That's a part of healing sometimes, right? Our old story needs to be expressed or sensed. This was coming up. That's fine. That expression allows you to just kind of come into your own self. And then sense deepest resonance. And that's why the invitation is always and always see the nature of who is listening to this video. See the nature of the thought or the story. Who is the thinker of the thought? Who is the storyteller? This is a beautiful word, and it's called Katha. The play of Ka, if you want to look at that. Kundalini. Where the Ka is, that's the snake, the serpent, the divine serpent, is the story. It is living. Okay, so your deepest resonance, trust that. And how do you deepen into that resonance? Is not by moving unconsciously, constantly, identified as these thoughts that come. Okay? And that's all really needed. Anything after this are simply the offering of a perspective, another way to look at it.